It is a scene right out of a Hollywood movie, but it's real and it's a lot more dangerous. Navy SEALs rescuing Captain Richard Phillips, who's being held hostage on a skiff by Somali pirates. Sharpshooters take down the captors with 3 single shots. Captain is thankfully now on his way back home, back to the United States. Meantime, Somali pirates threatening to take revenge not only against America, but other ships off their coast. What does that mean for hostages already in custody? Remember, many others are being held on other ships as we speak. What else should America and the world be doing right now to combat this type of piracy? It has clearly turned into the high cost of doing business on the high seas. Joining us now, Larry Rutkowski. He is vice chairman of New York Maritime Association. He has negotiated hostage releases directly with pirates. Neil Livingstone is CEO and chairman of Executive Action. And Bruce Siddle, CEO of Human Factor Research Group, also trainer of Navy SEALs and law enforcement around the world. Gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. Larry, you have had a very bizarre job in that you have actually negotiated hostage releases with pirates. You've been in a boardroom. They've been on a boat with a cell phone. How do you negotiate with pirates on rowboats?
Well, you know, there's no set manual, although over time one is certainly being developed. I think our experience has indicated to us, at least prior to the situation with the Maersk Alabama, that the pirates were acting, yes, violently, I suppose, as pirates, but they were ultimately commercial people looking to get money. They didn't have a political agenda. They wanted money, and our primary concern, of course, was getting our crew back.
And David, and how do you find them as a negotiator? I mean, are they fairly savvy at what they do? Is it just all blunt force?
It's not all blunt force. You have to conclude that they're a bit savvy, at least, because they have hijacked quite a number of vessels. They've gotten quite a bit of ransom money from different owners around the world.
And they're smart enough not to ask for hundreds of millions. They ask for sums that are fairly easily paid.
That's true. They're not so smart as to go and do a financial research project on the owner of the vessel, and they sometimes pick the ones that have a lot of money and other times pick ones that don't have a lot of money. But they don't make completely outrageous demands. Of course, one could argue that any demand by a pirate is outrageous, but they start the negotiation with a high figure and you move from there.
Neil Livingstone, your company, you call it the problem-solving company, and what do you tell? If you have a client that owns a shipping company, you know, and they don't want to spend another month going around the Horn of Africa or another few $1 million, what advice would you give to the heads of some of these companies that might be in harm's way?
Well, this is a complex problem, but it's not a major national security problem. It's an irritant to our maritime comings and goings. It's an irritant to these companies. And first of all, the companies need to work with their governments because this problem is going to be solved not one issue at a time, not one hijacking or pirate episode at a time, but we've got to do something about this failed state of Somalia. Then we have the consideration of whether we want to go in and clean out these pirate nests on land. There are contingency plans in the United States to do so. And finally, we have a variety of proposals right now. Some of them say we should have a Marshals program, something like the Air Marshals program, where special operations forces would be put aboard some of these ships, and the pirates would never know which one they might engage, and they might rue the day that they attack a ship that had formidable firepower on board. So, you know, there are a whole variety of things that you talk to these companies about doing. In the past, the companies really haven't done enough. They basically ignored the problem and have hoped that it would be someone else's ship that would be taken down.
And Bruce Siddle, I mean, listen, this problem was solved with 3 quick shots to heads. I mean, that's how this problem was solved, by amazing marksmanship. What can we do, though? Do we have to get these pirates on land before they make it out to the ocean and they can hold an RPG to the side of an oil tanker?
Well, Brian, I think that the 3 SEAL snipers proved that you don't have to have these insurgents, criminals, terrorists, or pirates, however you classify them, on ground. In this particular case, the United States Special Operations groups and the Special Warfare groups, are highly trained specifically for this type of situation. That said, it was simply remarkable that 3 SEAL snipers were able to execute this type of precision and complexity in rough waters on one small vessel that was moving and a larger vessel that was moving around also.
It's a testament to the marksmanship of those American soldiers, really, truly remarkable. But Bruce, also from a warfare side, I mean, You know, you have this scene of a naval vessel and a tiny little skiff, and you're thinking, how did we get to this? Is there a way to prevent that from a warfare perspective? The pirates are obviously not afraid to die, which probably makes them dangerous opponents.
Well, you know, that's an interesting question. You know, it could be suggested that there has been a level of arrogance, and at this point, no individual or no organization has brought any of the pirates to task. I believe that in moving forward, that what we're going to find is that piracy is going to take a step backward and think about the situation they get into. What the administration did and the sharpshooting of the Navy SEALs have done is going to give pause to any future piracy. At least that's my opinion.
Larry, do you agree with that?
I think it has.
Because they have gotten paid. I mean, they've made, some of these pirates have made millions in ransom.
Yeah, they have gotten a lot of money. I do think a pirate's got to think twice now, because they've now seen some of their comrades go down at the end of a Navy SEAL's rifle. But not all the vessels out there trading the waters are U.S. flag vessels with U.S. crews likely to be protected by the United States Navy. A much more concerted effort needs to be done internationally before a real deterrent is created.
And Neil, the U.S. government doesn't negotiate with terrorists. Should some of these shipping companies just say, we're never going to pay another dime again?
Well, actually, that's a misnomer. The U.S. government does negotiate with terrorists. What we don't do, as a matter of policy, is pay ransoms to terrorists. And so,
good point. Thank you.
Yeah, negotiating is something that worked very well in this case. We strung this out. The pirates were uncomfortable. It was over 100 degrees in that lifeboat, and that wore them down. What I do think is that if we don't punish piracy, and it goes unabated, that other people are going to get into the act. And the problem was the previous administration essentially sat on its hands, not to point the finger of blame, as this situation got out of control. Similarly, our European and other allies who benefit from maritime commerce didn't do enough to address this problem and make it not pay.
Neil Livingstone of Executive Action, Larry Rutkowski of the New York Maritime Association, and Bruce Siddle, consultant of special operations. Thank you.